Hi, I'm Ricky Hansen from Ricky.me, and this video is all around the fear of failure. People are so afraid of failure that it literally costs them their potential and their dreams. Because I'm sure you'd agree that fear of failure kills more dreams and has killed more dreams than failure itself ever has. That's the statistics that have been proven over and over again. But I know you're watching this video because you want to make a big transition in your career or in your business. So let me help you redefine what failure could actually mean to you. Because I can literally guarantee you how you view failure and your fear of failure is not defined by you. It was chosen by someone else for you. And I'm a big believer in empowering you to make the change you want to make. So I'll show you some very concrete strategies in this video so you can redefine how you view fear, your fear of failure. You can make it work in your favor and you can use it as an ally so you can make that change. Because here's what I notice in my work as a transition advisor. There are two things that always come up that literally paralyze people and that influence how they view failure. So there are two things. There is the cultural and family conditioning, and then there's the workplace conditioning. So think about when you grew up, your family, your culture. There's a very, very big chance that unless you grew up in a very entrepreneurially minded family, you were not encouraged to take risks. You were not encouraged to fail. You were encouraged to get good grades, stay safe, play the game, and get the rewards accordingly. That means that when you think of failure, you think of, oh my God, it's done. Failure is final. I'll never get up again, or I'll be embarrassed for the rest of my life, all that kind of stuff. But here's the thing. So you might have heard of Sara Blakely, who invented Spanx, which is an underwear range that controls muffin tops, amongst other things. And in an interview with her, she said that every night around the dinner table, her dad would ask her, how did you fail today? What did you fail at today? Now, for most of us, we didn't have parents who have those kind of conversations with us around the dinner table. With my dad, it would be things like, so did you get an A+, or did you get an A, or what achievements did you have, or, you didn't take any risks, or were you careful, and all of that stuff. So no wonder if you grow up with this idea that you have to stay safe, you have to avoid failure at all costs. The same thing when it comes to workplace conditioning. A lot of us have worked in environments where, failure in your job meant you got sacked. It was a death sentence. It was demonized. Think about professional services. You are not hired to take risks. You are hired to protect the client and get achievements and get results. So you've been conditioned, whether you worked for, in the corporate environment, in a work environment for 5, 10, 15 plus years, you've slowly been conditioned to avoid taking risk at most costs. So here you are trying to maybe start your first business or your next business, and you are really confused as to what, that fear of failure. You're afraid of failing because growing up and in the workplace, you were not rewarded for failure. You were punished for it. And you were told to avoid at all costs. So, but also think about it at the same time, that also means you just absorb those beliefs around failure without questioning them. And the thing is, whether you already are an entrepreneur or not, you don't automatically get an entrepreneurial mindset just by becoming an entrepreneur or changing career. It is absolutely vital that you do several things to redefine what failure means. So it doesn't have just to be what you absorb subconsciously from the work environment or from your parents or from the culture you grew up in. So there are 3 concrete strategies I want to share with you right now. So number 1 is to identify those beliefs and to change them. Here's the thing, beliefs are a choice. You can change your mind about what you believe and you can act accordingly into that new belief. So I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and just write down everything that comes to mind when you think about failure or your fear of failure. And here's one thing I've noticed with a lot of my clients, and a technique that's helped them a lot. So for a lot of people, failure is like final. It's like all or nothing. You'll be on the street, eating dog food. You'll be homeless, if that business doesn't work, or if that career change doesn't work, or that next business. So it's very all or nothing. But here's the fact, you can choose your level of failure. It doesn't have to be final, and you can choose your level of risk. That's the great thing. Failure does not have to be final. So once you've identified your beliefs, just reframe them and choose something else. So that's really, really important for you to do. There are so many levels of failure you can choose. So please avoid the all or nothing scenario, or I'm going to be homeless and on the street. Think about role models and examples of people who take in risks and who kind of failed, but they turn that into learning experiences and they turn it into great businesses and great careers. So that's number one. Number two, let's get real here. It's like, do a reality check. What is the real failure here? So if you're watching this video, there's a big chance that you really want to change career, you really want to start your own business, or you want to finally start the business you really want to run. But right now, you're in the scenario you hate, or at least that you really want to get away from because it's making you stressed, sick, it's not making you realize your potential. So here's my challenge to you. Isn't the real failure staying stuck in that environment and not taking action? Because right now, you're probably not doing something really worth failing for. And that's the real difference. Once you nail down what you really want to do, what you're going to find is that it's going to be worth taking risks for. It's going to be worth failing for. Just like love. If you've ever been in love, you know that you get to the stage where you're just going to have to risk it. You're just going to have to risk failure. You're going to have to risk rejection. You're going to have to jump right in. And it's always been worth it. Better to have loved and lost than never loved at all. I want to use that analogy here as well. So make sure you do something worth failing for, because the real risk and the real failure is staying stuck in something you don't want. All right. Number three is really important, and it's replacing fear of failure or replacing failure with the word experiment. So rather than thinking, oh, I failed or it was a failure, think I experimented and I learned more. Think about scientists. Scientists go into the lab trying to find the cure for cancer. They know very well it's not going to happen in the first go. They do experiments, and every time they do an experiment, they get more information to solve the big questions, and eventually they will find the solution. Thankfully, starting your first business is a lot easier than being a scientist, find the cure for cancer, but there's a chance that you will need to do some experiments in order to get the insights you need to design that ideal business, that ideal career. You need to learn more about yourself, and you can only do that if you take risks, if you do things that might seem scary and might result in failure. But here's the thing, what if there was no such thing as failure, but only learning experiences, only experimentation? I really want you to think about it like that, because that's really going to help you. And then you're almost going to crave going out and taking risks and, doing things that otherwise could be seen as, oh my God, you're going to fail. Because that's the beautiful thing about life. The more experiments you undertake, the more confident you'll get, the more self-knowledge you'll have, and the more successful you're going to be. Think about it. Most successful entrepreneurs that we know about with beautiful businesses or people who have careers they really love, it wasn't always the first thing, or it wasn't always the first idea. They had to test drive things to find the right fit. So there you go. A recap here. Be really aware of what your current beliefs around failure are, and redefine them to work for you. And remember, there are many levels of failure. You can choose. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Number two, be real. Do something worth failing at and do something worth failing for. You're staying stuck in the scenario you want to escape from is the real failure here. And that's what you should want to avoid. That's the kind of failure you want to avoid, not going for what you really want. And number three is replace failure with experiment. So please go out there and experiment, because the more you experiment, the more pieces you're going to have for the puzzle that's going to make you happy and fulfilled in the work that you're doing. All right. So if you like this video, I would love for you to come over to Ricky.me, sign up for more videos, let me know what you need, and let's get you making that transition. So go out there and fall in love with taking risks. Remember, failure is only experimentation. So please go have those experiments. There are many levels of failure. You can absolutely do this. Thank you.